Good morning. How are you doing, grade 9 students? For sure, you are all doing great. Welcome to your English class for week 7 of quarter 1. I am Sir Adrian Flores, your teacher for today. Our class for today is geared toward achieving this learning competency. Employ the communicative styles for various situations. At the end of our lesson, you are expected to determine the communicative styles for various situations, create a script of a conversation that depicts the language register, and present the appropriate communicative styles for various situations through a video recorded role play. Now, I believe you are all ready for today's lesson. As we start, we will do task 1 called Casual Conversation in a Diagram. In doing this task and the activities to follow, you have to prepare a pen and sheets of paper. Now you have to answer these questions. First, as a teenager, how do you converse with your parents? Second, how do you converse with your peers? You have to answer the questions by creating a dialogue through this diagram. Please be reminded as well that you need to identify the differences between how you as a teenager converse with your parents and how you converse with your peers. This time you are going to do task 2 called Connecting Lives. In this activity, you have to consider this situation. A student received recognition from the school. How do you think a supportive parent would speak to the child? Would others, such as a friend or a teacher, speak to the child in the same manner? To answer the questions from the said situation, use this table and create possible dialogues between the student and parent, student and friend, and student and teacher. Let's now proceed to task 3 called Level of Formality. This task will still require you to answer a few questions. Based on the previous activity, answer the following. First, what is the degree of formality in each conversation? Second, how does our relationship with others influence the way we communicate with them? Answer question number 1 using this table. Place a check mark on the column which corresponds to your answer. Please be reminded that this task will determine the degree of formality in a given conversation. For question number 2, you have to explain your answer in at least 5 sentences. Again, you need 5 sentences as answer for question number 2. Now, you have determined how you converse with your parents and your peers and have identified the level of formality of the conversations that you would have with your parents, with your friends, and with your teachers. Talking about level of formality of a conversation, it has something to do with language registers. A language register is actually the level of formality with which you speak. Different situations and people call for different registers. There are different concepts of language registers. First is the frozen or static. At this level, language is literally frozen in time and form. It does not change. This type of language is often learned and repeated by rote. Examples include biblical verses, Catholic prayers, Pledge of Allegiance, and the national anthem. The second concept of language registers is formal register. This style is impersonal and often follows a prescriptive format. The speaker uses complete sentences, avoids slang, and may use technical or academic vocabulary. It is likely that the speaker will use fewer contractions, but opt instead of complete words. Instead of haven't, have not is used. One of its examples is the language used in most academic papers. The third concept of language registers is consultative register. This is the register used when consulting an expert such as a doctor. The language used is more precise. The speaker is likely to address the expert by a title such as a doctor or attorney. We have this statement as example. Dr. Florentino, does steam inhalation a real cure for COVID-19? Based on this, the speaker is asking for medical explanation to his query. The fourth concept of language registers is casual register. This is conversational in tone. It is the language used among and between friends. In this register, words are general and not technical. This register may include more slang and colloquialisms. Some examples are "bay" or "before anyone else," to ghost or to cut off communication with someone, to flex or to show off, and lit, meaning something is enjoyable or exciting. The fifth concept of language registers is intimate register. This is the language used by lovers. This is the most intimate form of language, as the name suggests. It is best avoided though in public and professional situations. We can have the terms of endearment like dear, honey, babe, darling, and sweetheart as examples. Now, let us have a short test. I want you to identify the language register in the statements that I will be showing you. Are you ready? Good. Let's now have statement number one. Engineer Ventura may know the best construction materials to make our house earthquake proof. What do you think is the language register in the statement? Correct. Consultative register. The speaker of the sentence is consulting an engineer about earthquake-proof construction materials. Let's have statement number two. Babe, you just don't know how much you mean to me. What do you think is the language register in the statement? Brilliant. It's intimate register. The speaker is clearly expressing romantic feelings toward the love of his life. Now let's take a look at statement number three. Hey dude, last night's party was lit. What do you think is the language register in the statement? Very good. It's casual register. The speaker uses the informal words dude and lit, which are common in casual conversations, especially among millennials. Statement number four. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. What do you think is the language register in the statements. Perfect. It's frozen or static register. The sentences are taken from the first two verses of the King James Version of Psalm 23. The King James Version of the Bible was published in 1611 and it is still widely used today. Let's now have statement number 5. Teaching English poses its own particular challenges and imposes even more particular demands on the teacher when considering the student's short attention spans and their lack of discipline and possibly underdeveloped linguistic foundations in the learner's native language. What do you think is the language register in the statement? Excellent. Formal register. The sentence is about the field of English language teaching and has an impersonal tone. It uses terms and concepts unique to that particular field. So, how do you find the activity, class? Good. Now, we are on for your main tasks. First, you will be doing task 4 called script writing. You are going to create a script that contains conversations depicting at least one of the different concepts of language registers. Again, you need to base your script on these concepts of language registers. Your script will be graded according to this rubric. Conventions, clarity, and dialogue will be checked in your output. Do this on your assigned time for English 9. Be guided with your weekly home learning plan. After preparing the draft of your script, you now have to finalize it and be ready for your next task. Let us now proceed to task 6 called Lights, Camera, Action. Using the script you supposed to have crafted in task 4, you're going to present a role play at home. You may now ask a family member or members to be with you in your presentation. You have to record your role play presentation and base your performance on a rubric. Your presentation will be graded based on this rubric. As we are about to wrap up our lesson, please take note that there are 5 types of language registers. These are frozen or static, formal, consultative, casual, and intimate. And the level of formality with which we communicate depends on the way we speak to others and is greatly influenced by our relationship with them. You really did an incredible job, students. I am congratulating you for that. Before we end, I would like to remind you that you have to submit your output online or in school. Thank you for sticking around. I am once again Sir Edwin Flores. See you all again, students. God bless us all. Hello.